Michael S. Taheri. I'm presently a student at Villa, auditing a class in 3D design, but our relationship with Villa probably goes back maybe 6, 7, 8 years. Matt and I met through a mutual friend over coffee. We did a project at St. Luke's, and kind of following that, I talked to Matt about taking classes at Villa, and we started with a contemporary art history class taught by Kyle Butler. Professional background, graduated from law school, started in the district attorney's office, started practicing criminal law, criminal defense, and 35 years as a criminal lawyer. I've taught at UB Law School for probably 15 years. I've taught in New York City for a couple years. Really, I was impressed with Matt. He was so kind and encouraging, and then I met Kyle Butler, and he's like, well, why don't you try it? Why don't you come back? It was a little weird being in my 60s to come back into a classroom, one, not as an instructor, but two, sit in the back as a student with, students who were between 18 and 22. I had to, go out and get a notebook and get to class on time and do the homework, take the exams, and learn quite a bit from the students and the faculty. Running a classroom was great in one phase of my life, but now it's more interesting in some ways to sit back, see how the instructor chooses to run it. Here I am at 66 working with kids who are in their 20s, maybe their teens. I think it's really important if you want to kind of befriend the aging process. You got to have curiosity. I used to tell my students, you've got to enjoy being uncomfortable. So I think to come back and sit in the classroom, you have to raise your hand and ask a question, and the student's like, well, who's the old guy? What's he got to say? So you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, one. Two, you got to be curious and say, this is something I don't know anything about. And that is kind of what art's all about. It's all about exploring. You really start to see the value of being around young people. I think what it's taught me is it's opened certain doors that I never would have thought about. The students are really smart, they're really talented. They've got a lot to say, whether it's in class or through their art. The faculty's talented, but you've got to be open to seeing that. I think what I've learned is this is a really caring community. Maybe it starts probably with the president, Matt, and goes all the way through the faculty, but the students are really good souls. So what have they taught me? They have made me part of a community that frankly was probably pretty impossible when I started a year and a half ago. One of the things I do see is there's so many different avenues for young artists to explore. We had a law firm several years ago hired an artist just to be in residence out in California to help lawyers think a little bit more creatively. There are wedding planners that are now bringing in artists to create different types of backgrounds for weddings. Artists, are finding different employment. So I think artists end up employed in different areas, and look, I'm here in a totally different area. The networking, because you're a smaller inner city school, can be improved. And I think one of the things that we've been able to work together on is we created this Catalyst speaker series. And that's a form of networking that wasn't here before. And what we were able to do is invite internationally known artists to the campus and to meet with the students for portfolio reviews that hadn't been an opportunity before. Now we're going to send some kids to kind of an artist residency this summer in July. We'll probably send 4 artists plus one of the faculty members, and they'll have a 10 or 12 day intensive residency in Pennsylvania with Mark Dion. And these are really deep dives that didn't exist. I mean, you had some internationally known artists now come here. And I think that's a good change for the school because it helps the students say, hey, wait a minute, I met that artist. You gotta know people that are interested and can help you. Catalyst brought in Andre Serrano. We had him at Hall Walls. We had an Iranian artist, Johan Kesharavani. She came and met with the students and gave an artist talk right here. We had Mark Dion in September, who also did the portfolio review and an artist talk. And you know, that's what networking is all about. We're working on a list now to bring in more artists next year. Everything we've tried to do, I always say, is student driven. It's to improve that experience for the student at Villa. We can get them in different positions with meeting with artists outside the faculty, and then go to places off-site from Villa. I know they're going to New York City. Those are all such game changers in terms of experience. I think students do have to be well-read about what's going on in the art environment. They got to think bigger than Buffalo. You've got to be persistent, and you've got to be persistent, but have a concrete goal. What do you want to do? Don't expect the person to say, here's what I think you can do. You've got to know and have some sense of what's your vision of what you want to do as an artist.